All right, what is up, everybody? Trying to get a video out to you quick before the Monday night game for the Houston Texans. Hey, there's a glaring advantage that I think I found for the Texans against the Seattle Seahawks. Look, we talk about both of these teams. This is a toss-up game for me. I could go either way on this. I think one of the big advantages that I see, yes, this isn't the glaring one, is the fact that Seattle just has a ton of guys that are questionable. A ton of guys that were injured last week in the secondary, so you have to wonder how long that secondary will last and how beat up they will actually be. But I found a couple of advantages for the Houston Texans, and I just kind of want to talk about what those look like in this game. And for the first one, what I want to talk about is simply the Houston Texans pass defense. Sam Darnold is a very good quarterback, and I am going to repeat that over and over again. If you're new to this channel, we talk about teams that the national media ignores. We're Detroit Lions fans, but we cover both of these teams, both the Seattle Seahawks and the Houston Texans. And so I see one big advantage for Houston. I also see one glaring advantage for Seattle. So I want to talk about both of those in these videos because we like to keep it upbeat and positive here, but we also want to give you a non-biased look at what your team is doing. So whether you're a Texans fan or whether you're a Seahawks fan watching this video, I want to talk to both of you. So first I want to talk about the advantage that I see for the Texans. What I see for the Texans is they have one great corner. All right, I mean, they have multiple good corners. They have a great secondary, and they have a phenomenal pass rush. But they have a fantastic number one corner. We know that. Seattle's offense has been extremely effective this year, but it primarily is effective through one man, and that one man is Jackson Smith-Njigba. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been playing better and getting more receiving yards lately, it seems, than the Texans are even giving up. The Texans rank 5th in the NFL in pass defense, allowing an average of 175 yards per game. Just think about how little that is. To allow under 200 yards. Now, I understand that a big part of that is Will Anderson Jr., it's Danielle Hunter, it's an excellent defensive backfield, but Stingley being able to follow Smith-Njigba is a big advantage in this because here's the deal. Yes, do I think Jackson Smith-Njigba can wiggle free? Yeah, I do. I think he is a talented enough receiver that he will end up getting open on multiple occasions. The question that has to be asked is, can the Seattle offensive line hold back this pass rush long enough for him to do it? See, you're not asking Stingley in this matchup to stick with him for 3, 4, 5 seconds. You're asking him to cover him for 2.5. And if he can cover him for 2.5, then Sam Darnold's going to have pressure in his face because that is what Houston absolutely does. This is a defensive-minded, defensive-first team, so I do see a big, big advantage there. The Houston Texans, no matter what stat you look at, overall, according to Summer Sports team statistics, they are the 3rd-ranked defense in the NFL. Number 3. And Seattle has been good at times and bad at times, and they rank right in the middle of the NFL. And these are some of the things that I just think are interesting. Estimated points added per pass, negative 0.19. All right, for the Houston Texans. For the Seattle Seahawks, plus 0.1. Neither are terrible. All right, Houston Texans have only given up 969 yards. The Seattle Seahawks almost 1,600 yards. Not almost 1,600, but 1,547. All right, now, this is what's interesting to me. And they've only given up 3 passing touchdowns. Sack percentage of 7%. All right, this is where Seattle's a little better, and this is where we're going to move over, and we're going to talk about the advantage that I see for the Seattle Seahawks in this game. Now, C.J. Stroud's coming off 2 of his best games. He is. However, that was against the Tennessee Titans, and I don't even remember who it was after that. It was who was it that you just absolutely took to the woodshed? The Ravens, right? It was the Ravens who it seems like, oh, the Ravens, they're good. No, very bad this year. Their defense is atrocious. A lot of it's injuries. I will admit that to be true. But some of it was just some weaknesses going into the season. They started showing the holes last year, and this year they sprung open. All right, so we see that. That's a real thing. As we're looking at this, though, C.J. Stroud had 2 really good games. If you can get pressure on C.J. Stroud, he is a different player. In the last 2 games when he hasn't had pressure on him, he's over 80% completion. He's thrown for almost 500 yards combined in those 2 games. Still not a ton of yardage, and I think like 6 or 7 touchdowns. However, in all the games before that, not good. It wasn't good. And quite frankly, in the second year, it wasn't good. Do I believe that C.J. Stroud is a good quarterback? Absolutely. Does he have to mature while under pressure? Yes. And the defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks is by far superior than the offensive line for the Houston Texans. It just is. The Houston Texans offensive line looked serviceable against the Titans. It looked good against the Ravens. Everybody's offensive line has looked good against the Ravens. And so that is not a clear measuring stick. So I do see a firm advantage for the Seattle Seahawks when it comes to the pass defense, especially if they get those corners back and healthy. Now, here's what's interesting to me. The Seahawks have a pretty good run defense, and the Texans have a middle-of-the-road run defense. That's just facts of how it is. 0.01 EPA per rush for the Texans and negative 0.16. So they're saving even more points. This game, as crazy as it sounds, with both the Seahawks and the Texans flinging it all over the field, is going to come down to who can run the football. Who can run the football? Because I think both of these teams, and I could be wrong because the NFL does weird things, especially at primetime games. But I truly believe that both of these defenses are too good to consistently pass on throughout the entirety of a game. The Seahawks had one game that they got just lit up in passing. All right, just lit up in passing, and they're 0.1 EPA per pass, but that was in a game where their entire secondary was basically out. That's not who this team is. This is a Mike McDonald defense that's very good. So, who can run? I give a slight advantage to Seattle in that one because Kenneth Walker has done it. Now, the run game has been a source of frustration for Seattle Seahawks fans. I understand that. But with the line that they have over in Houston, I don't know. Here's what I will say. I think this could be a Woody Marks coming out party. I think it's time. But Chubb's looked decent enough. But I'm looking for Marks to take over this backfield. So let me know what your thoughts are on it. I think there's a glaring advantage. This is about the most toss-em, pick-em game that I could think of for a Monday Night Football game. Hope you enjoy watching it. We'll see you on the next one.